Dr. Sung again. My child who has HD will only urinate outside. I don't understand why he goes to the backyard to urinate instead of just going to the bathroom that is closer. I am worried about someone seeing him and charging him with exposure. How do I stop this behavior?
Yeah, I think this is a complicated question. My first thought when I saw this question was to ask my wife, who's a psychiatrist, so I'd love to get Dr. Anderson's take on this as well. I think toileting behaviors, normal toileting behaviors are often, not always, but often ways for the HD patient to try to regain control when they feel loss of control that this disease is robbing them of, and can't just a way for them to express it because they can't express it in another way. And I think a simple thing, not all of this needs to be medicated. I think non-medical approaches are better first, is just to think about this like potty training. When you first potty trained them as a child, the kinds of things that you do to potty train them are all of us that have children have had to do. I call it bribery, but also the medical term is positive reinforcement. Like you could do things like, hey, how about if you can go all day without urinating outside and urinating in the toilet in the house, then you can get this prize, or something like that. And maybe nighttime is not to try to get rid of it altogether all at once. It may be difficult, but to address your issue about public indecent exposure kinds of things, maybe try to get rid of it during the day first. But they can still go outside and at night to use the bathroom outside or something like that, moderating it that way. Psychologists or other therapists have behavior plans or cognitive behavioral therapy, depending on what level of cognitive work your loved one is able to put in, or what the age of the child is. But a lot of therapists are experienced in coming up with behavior plans to try to intervene for problem behaviors. But that would be my take on it. I'd love to hear Dr. Anderson's as well.
I think those are terrific points. And I absolutely agree with not trying to medicate something like this, because I don't think that will work. I think if your backyard lends itself to this, if there's some way to set up a privacy hedge or just like a wicker screen or something and allow it, or at least allow it at certain times of day, then that could be an option depending on where you live and how your backyard is set up, because I am a fan of not picking your battles. And then I guess it also depends on how well your neighbors, right? And if they're understanding and charitable people, can you have a conversation with them and ask them what they're able to see and what they're not able to see, and try to work something out with them? So I would definitely be in favor of all of the behavioral approaches and of trying to gradually change it, gradually move it in the house if possible.
I just thought of, I don't know if you guys are backpackers or campers. They make those. I wonder if you could make it not to reinforce it, but in that interim time when you're trying to move away from it, you get one of those little backpack. They have those they're just tiny little tents right there, to do your business tents. And if you might be able to put one of those up and potentially guide them and make it not a reward, but create some privacy, but use one of those as some kind of incentive for reinforcing the privacy part.
Yeah.
That's a great idea. And we actually know 3 families that they're boys and they only will urinate outside. And a big thing is the smell. We do have a good friend of ours that I know she would not mind us telling you that what she found was baking soda. So if you are dealing with this problem of your loved one only urinating outside, and that's their behavior, the smell, she said she just sprinkles baking powder everywhere and lets it seep in, and the smell has gotten better out in her backyard. I thought that's a good caregiver tip.
And I think part of it is the not giving it attention, right? So if it's possible to ignore it and just sprinkle baking soda, that's an option. That's why I'm a fan of just putting up some hedges and ignoring it if you can, because the more you emphasize it, the more you may be rewarding it and giving somebody attention for something you don't want them to do.